News and information 570 AM, 96.3 FM, HD2.
More stories, more news.
KLIF.
The state of Texas has introduced the highest speed limit in the nation, and all the drivers are consistently exceeding the posted limit on highways every day. Joining us now is Fort Worth attorney Stephen Laird. Stephen, thanks for joining us. You know, we all like to get where we're going as soon as possible, but this is not necessarily a good thing, is it?
Well, what people don't always appreciate is that the higher the speeds, the more likely that any collision is going to involve even more serious injuries or wrongful deaths. It just makes common sense that when you increase speeds, regardless of what type of speed you may ultimately be describing, you're taking more of a risk that there's going to be something that happens that's going to result in something tragic, catastrophic, such as a serious personal injury or a wrongful death, even if it includes only one vehicle. Because the old saying is that speed kills. Common sense and logic should also tell us that higher speeds kill more.
Why is it they continue to raise the speed limit, knowing the knowledge they've got?
Well, it's a little bit of a false reasoning because we have certain areas of highways that seem to be less populated. They don't have as many gas stations or convenience stores, maybe not as many exits even, and so therefore a lot of lobbyists, especially from the trucking industry, have lobbied very hard for these higher speed limits. Now, just as an example, most truckers get paid by the mile. The faster they can drive, the more miles they can cover, the more that they can get paid. And although that's an economic incentive, it doesn't come without risks because you can still have a one-vehicle accident. Somebody can lose control of their vehicle, whether it's a car or an 18-wheeler, just as easily on a fairly isolated road as they can in an urban area. So there's these attendant risks that tend to go up just with the increase of speeds, and you can see it statistically.
You know, when they say it's not about the money, it's always about the money. Talking to Stephen Laird, Fort Worth personal injury attorney. You know, that stretch between, it actually goes around Austin on the way to San Antonio. 80 miles an hour, and you're right, there's a lot of times where I'm the only one on the highway. However, I have personally seen 3 hogs run next to the highway or across the highway.
Oh, that's just one great example that you're pointing out. And also, if you have a blowout, obviously that's not going to be intended. It's totally unexpected. It could happen for a variety of reasons. If you have a blowout at 85 miles an hour, as an example, are you going to be able to control that vehicle as well as even 70 miles an hour? 15 miles an hour will make a great deal of difference in maintaining control of a vehicle, trying to execute some type of maneuver to avoid a situation, whether it involves a wild hog or a deer or another motorist. It doesn't matter. You still need to maintain control of the vehicle, and it's going to be harder to do with the higher speed. And also, if you have a posted speed limit, let's say you're talking about a speed limit of 85 miles an hour. Well, I think most people know by common sense and experience from driving on the roadways of Texas and other states that the vast majority of drivers will drive at least that posted speed limit, with many of them exceeding. And that even includes professional truck drivers.
Oh, absolutely. I have no idea how many times I'm driving 85 in an 80 and someone flips me off as they're going by me at 92, like, how dare me slow them down?
Unfortunately, a lot of people drive with the attitude that if they are exceeding the posted speed limit by something close but less than 10 miles an hour over the speed limit, they won't get a ticket. Well, all that does is encourage people, at least on a subconscious, if not an actual conscious level, to drive faster. And if you've got an 85 mile an hour posted speed limit, you're going to see many, many people acting like they're on the Autobahn in Germany, and they're going to be driving literally 90 to 95 miles an hour. And it's very, very scary, especially when you think of a vehicle that can have a one-car rollover for any number of reasons. You can't maintain control of the vehicle. You're talking about an 80,000-pound 18-wheeler that's driving even remotely close to 85 miles an hour. All types of situations are likely to develop, none of them good.
You know, I think it was a couple of weeks or maybe last week I read this article that said fatal crashes have increased in these rural areas, not quite 10%. Why hasn't the safety patrol stepped in and said, I get it, but this is not safe?
You're right. And you're talking about roughly a 9% increase in these areas due to the higher speed. Once again, even though the statistics are there that show that the rise of the speed limit also is accompanied by a rise in accidents, collisions, whether they're one or two vehicle situations, the reality is that you get back to some lobbying efforts based upon economic reasoning.
Yeah.
I prefer to use the word excuses.
Yeah.
Probably the most obvious example, but it's not the only example, is that the trucking industry has been a proponent of higher speeds for those reasons that we talked about, and that is that most drivers get paid by the mile. The more miles they can drive, the more money they can make, even though it comes with this increased danger for the trucker and the rest of the motoring public.
I know you've got an email and a website. Tell people how they can get a hold of you.
Well, our website is www.texlawyers, TEXLAWYERS, texlawyers.com.
Steve, have a great weekend, all right?
Thank you very much, Kurt. Bye-bye.
That's Fort Worth attorney Stephen Laird. 422 on KLAF News and Information in the afternoon.